we are going to share on our pages. Okay. Is it live? Can you see it?
Yeah, you're live.
Yeah?
We're live.
We are live. It says that we are live. Okay. Now let's take a minute to to share this video. Hello, everyone. Uh-oh. Wait a second. I have my phone on loud. To share this video. Hello, everyone. Okay. Now that's good. At least we know the sound works. So this was totally not announced, this quick discussion. Hey, Frank, we are going to have now with Matt. I'm going to share inside my group. Are you sharing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it right now.
I'm going to share inside my Love Quarantine group, because that's a pretty active group. And I'm going to share on my personal page. This is inside on my business page, right? I'm pretty sure. Watch party. Power. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put a watch party on my page. Okay, so Matt, what are we talking about today?
I think we need to talk about the immune system and if it even matters, if it can protect us or lessen the effects of this crazy virus. If we do get it, will it lessen the effects or prevent us from getting it in the first place? What are your thoughts, Mihaela?
Good question, because in fact, maybe that's why you and I get together and have conversations like this, is because I feel like we are on the same page with regards to our personal belief in our ability to heal and to prevent diseases through food and lifestyle. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So the short answer to your question is yes, our immune system definitely matters. And let's start this conversation by saying that I'm not an immunologist. In other words, I'm not the specialist in immunology. However, I do have a little bit of understanding of our immune system and how it works. I studied that when I studied veterinary medicine, and to some degree we talk about immune system health in nutrition school as well. But I would say most of my training and understanding animal and human physiology and understanding of. I keep hearing me.
Yeah, sorry, I fixed it. I'm trying to share it.
Okay, comes really from my veterinary studies. But so humans have different systems. We as human beings, we are complex, like I always say, complex biological machineries. We have different systems, digestive system that helps us take in energy and convert it and transform it into what makes us. Nervous system, hormonal system, etc., etc. So we try to, or we compartmentalize our human body into systems for the purpose of learning and understanding us, right? So out of the many systems we have, one of them is the immune system. And the role of the immune system is to help us integrate in our environment. In other words, humans, as the other animals, share planet Earth with microbes, with things that are invisible to our naked eye. Viruses, microbes, parasites. Some parasites are visible to naked eye, some are not. Anyway, and some we are actually heavily contaminated with all sorts of microorganisms, right? But we learn just by the fact that we live on Earth and we are exposed to germs all the time. And because we have this immune system, it's almost like think of the borders to a country, that we have soldiers on the border that helps, things stay in or out the border depending on what the necessity is. And then we have the employees, the people that work in the customs that help check things, right? Check passports and see if the person can come in or leave the country, right? So I see our immune system kind of like that, keeps things in check and balance. So it helps us create this symbiotic relationship with our microenvironment, with microbes and viruses and all that. So we are always exposed to germs, and the immune system, a healthy immune system, is able to recognize the germs that penetrate us and are of pathogenic nature, such as what we are facing right now, this COVID-19. And if the immune system, again, if it's healthy, strong, well equipped, it should, at least under ideal circumstances, it should be able to detect and stop this virus or whatever other microorganisms for taking over the host. We are the host, they are the co-hosts, right? The invaders. So the bigger picture here is, how are we as individuals and as collective, United States, Europe, Australia, whatever, people all over the world, how are we, again, as individuals and as a collective, how healthy are we? How healthy is our immune system? So
let me ask you this, Mihaela. What compromises an immune system?
Good question. So the immune system is affected directly by the foods we consume, by the chemistry of our body that is generated by our own thoughts. Stress can affect negatively, of course, the immune system. So in short, it's food and lifestyle and our ability to manage stress, chronic stress,
right,
acute and chronic stress. So if we go back and look at the population at the big picture, we can see that 70% of the population, 70, 60, somewhere in there, over 50% for sure, suffers from some form of chronic degenerative disease, whether it is preventable, right, of modern living. Like often I refer to those as diseases of domestication.
Yeah.
So we have obesity, we have cardiometabolic problems, we have autoimmunities, we have, of course, various forms of cancer. Those are all diseases of modern living that to a good degree are caused by our food and lifestyle choices,
right,
in combination with the stressful lives we live right now. Because modern living is associated with chronic low-grade stress that we are not aware. It's not like we feel it like you feel when you catch a flu virus, right?
Right.
You start to feel fatigued immediately, and you have the symptoms with the aches and all that. When we are under low-grade chronic stress and sleep deprivation, is not um, detectable,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean it doesn't corrode.
And it's
In the
cumulative.
It's cumulative in the background, behind the scenes, it causes damage that's not easily, it goes below our ability to detect it.
Right.
And I always say, I will add just this one thing and then you can ask questions, because I want to make sure this is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. I always say diseases do not just happen. You
Yeah.
did not just got diagnosed with lupus or with diabetes, or you did not just have a heart attack,
Right.
or you did not just get cancer. Those things happen in the background, outside of our awareness, for maybe 20,
Mhm.
10, 30 years before just happens to get the diagnosis. And usually the last straw that breaks the camel's back for most people when they get diagnosed with
Right.
such conditions is some stressful event in their lives, and or a infectious disease that comes
Mhm.
on, it finds a favorable, again, host. It's like the battle between, going back to infectious disease, so we kind of bring it into what's happening right now with this corona. Corona is a new virus, but we are always exposed to viruses, and it's the battle that happens between the foreign and us. If
Mhm.
us are strong, the foreign, those things that are invisible to our naked eye, don't win most of the time.
Right. Yeah, and I think going back to the immune system, and you, as you've stated before in previous talks, the immune system is in the gut. I mean, it lives
It's
in the gut. And if that, I always say, is not necessarily the health of the food that you consume, sometimes it's the health of the terrain of the gut or the terrain of the body. How healthy is the terrain? And we know, because of the Americans and how unhealthy we are, the terrain is not healthy. We know that. So you're going to see more susceptibility to illness, whether it be the flu, a common cold, heart disease, even as well as a new virus like COVID-19.
Yes. I want to reiterate this. Systems that make us are not, they don't exist in isolation in our body. You having a healthy immune system does not exclude having a healthy gut. In other words, to have a healthy immune system, you have to have a healthy gut,
Right.
a healthy heart, a healthy nervous system, a healthy hormone. It's
Holistic.
everything.
Yeah.
We are one human being.
Right.
We tend to separate, and the way medicine is practiced like that, where we go to specialists for different organs and
Yeah.
systems of the body, but nevertheless, one affects the other sooner or later.
Right.
Yes, can we say that genetically we have weakened links, like predispositions that we pass on from generation to generation? So some people would see a quicker deterioration in their skin, for example, or joints, or some in their nervous system, or some in their gut.
Right.
Everyone is, of course, we are unique, and everyone carries a different genetic inheritance, but ultimately what really matters is the environment, what presses on those genes. It's
Right.
like, it's almost like we sent a letter to the printer, and the letters are there, the text is there, but what ink do we have available to print? Do we print what we sent, or
Right.
we are missing some colors?
Yeah. How much? How like we have the genes, but
They
do
don't
they do
necessarily
they have to
express.
do they have to express
Mhm.
themselves? And that's where I love that quote, genetics loads the gun and lifestyle pulls the trigger. And I truly believe
Exactly.
that. I don't think we are destined, as Western medicine would say, like, hey, it's just genetics. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't worry about it, Mary. Your diet can do nothing for you it's your genes. And I think that's wrong. And I think the paradigm, the dialogue needs to shift to give people more power.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. And that's my mission. That's what I do. And I try to help every client I work with, or every friend, every person that comes around me. My mission, my desire is to help people see how powerful
Yep.
we are. Again, as individuals, as collective, and as individual, if you could see that your body is perfectly equipped, designed, evolved, whichever way you want to look at your body. Some people believe in creation, some people believe in evolution. We're not going to get into that, but just see your body as this perfectly equipped, again, biological machinery that knows exactly what it needs to do. If you, the owner, like
Right.
you,
Yeah.
the owner of this machinery, are using it, are caring for this machinery the way it's meant to be cared for. And
Right.
that cannot exclude food. It really heavily relies on the food, just like a car heavily relies on the type of gasoline and the oil and the whatever else goes into a car to maintain the car so it runs optimally. More so our human body. So food is fundamental. Sleep is fundamental. We cannot minimize, and how sleep deprived people are. And we've been, even prior to this rest we are all taking. Let's not minimize, again, stress and the way we focus our thoughts. Humans are the only animals, I'm going to call us animals, the only animals, creatures that have the ability to shift and focus our thoughts.
Right.
What we shift our focus our thoughts on, that's what we generate more of. If we are in a state of fear, despair, anxiety, overwhelm, guess what? Those are all feelings and emotions that will generate certain chemicals in our body. Chemicals that, what do they do to the immune system? They knock it down.
Right.
It's the stress chemicals, the sympathetic nervous system. So our response to stress and how we respond to life, again, goes to the nervous system, this autonomic nervous system that does things in the background outside of our awareness. We don't have to make sure our heart beats. It beats because it's programmed to beat. So same it goes to, it's controlled by this autonomic nervous system. And this has like two legs, the sympathetic one and the parasympathetic one. The sympathetic one is the one that helps us escape an acute stress, like in fight or flight or freeze, right? And which we need. Like if you were to be run by a car, let's say you want to cross the street and a car comes fast into you, and you're not fast enough to see that with the corner of your eye and to have the fast thinking and command to your muscles, so boom, you start to run out of the danger, you're going to be hit by that car, right? So that's the response that comes as a result of this sympathetic nervous system that kicks in. More blood flows to your muscles from your digestion, more glucose into your blood, more increased blood pressure, all of those. But what happens today, this sympathetic nervous system stays on all the time. It's like you're pressing the pedal to the metal all the time because of the stress, chronic low-grade stress that comes with modern living. So we never shift back into that parasympathetic, into the one that allows us to replenish and restore.
Right.
So that is corrosive. So Matt, before we went on, you were saying people tell me that they know of people that were healthy and they died of this virus. I'm not saying it's not true. It could be true, but how do we define healthy? How do we know these people were not chronically stressed? We don't know what happened in their life. And chronically sleep deprived. And even if on the outside they look like they had it all together and they were healthy, we don't know what's happening inside.
Yeah, and listen, I think it's very difficult in our world to not have something, right?
Of
I mean,
course.
you like listen, from the air we breathe, the water we drink, the soil that our food comes from, the animal products where they come from, what they eat, we consume all this, we breathe this, the light, the fluorescent lighting, the traffic, the
Absolutely.
stress, right? All of it. It's difficult not to have something, but
Yes.
I think that's where you and I are seeing eye to eye so much. And I wish other people, and I wish the news, and I wish the health um, authorities, we could talk about lifestyle a little more, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like, oh, I'm a runner, I'm healthy, right? Okay, that's one aspect, and that's more stress on you. So we can set that to the side. Running is a stress, exercise is a stress. Like, or somebody that says, oh, um, hey, I just take vitamin D3 and zinc. That should be good, right? Well, here's an analogy I have for people like that. Like, let's say that the house or the terrain, right? Let's call it the wood. Let's call it the wood of the house, all right? And your diet is the wood,
Mhm.
okay? Your diet's not so good. So that wood's not going to be good, right? There's the analogy. The wood of the house is your diet.
It's rotten. It's
That's
full
the
of
terrain,
termites.
and it's some rotten ass cheap wood. It is not good quality wood, right? And then you get the best supplements or nails, the best bolts, golden motherfucking golden nails, the best supplements you could ever get, and you try to put golden nails in rotten wood, right? I think it's a great analogy for
I
people to
love
think
it.
about, like, because like,
I
hold on a
love
minute.
it.
I was told to take zinc and vitamin D3 and a multivitamin and antioxidants and all that stuff will keep my immune system strong. But
I
when,
love it.
you know what I mean? But when the house or the terrain or the building blocks are not good quality, like supplements should complement. It should
Yes.
complement
Lovely.
good quality nutrition, right? Just like exercise should complement movement. I think that's another
Yes.
one too. People will work out 7 days a week for 1 hour and they forget about the 161, one other hours of the week that they did nothing but sit on their butt, right? So we have to really look at movement and complement that with exercise, just like we need to look at food intake and a healthy terrain and building blocks, and we complement that with supplementation.
Supplements.
And I think that's where our conversation, we talked about it before we got started, was people were saying, oh, supplements won't do anything for you. And I can kind of agree with that to an extent, right? Now that we're talking about it. Because if you have a shitty terrain, which
It's a
most
waste of
90,
money. It's a
how
waste of
many
money.
do have a good building blocks, or those necessary, the foundation,
Mhm.
it's lacking.
Yeah.
So it means that you and I, the foundation needs to be talked about more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we have to
Yes.
talk about lifestyle and a holistic approach to this. So we'll have a fighting chance of prevention. And also, if you do get something, you're just not going to express it as much. You're not going to be on a
It's not gonna
ventilator.
kill you, or it's not gonna
I
knock you
don't see
down.
Mihaela Telecan on a fucking on a ventilator. You know what I mean? If I see you if you tell me, Matt, I'm in the hospital on a ventilator, then man, everything goes out the window.
You're too funny. Don't put pressure on me.
Seriously. If
I'm
that
not.
happens, then I'm like, yo, we're in trouble. Mihaela's on a ventilator, we're in fucking deep trouble. Because that means everything I believe in is wrong.
Yes, yeah, you could go by that too. I'm not the measuring stick of of foundational
Well, let me ask you this, Mihaela. This is a
health,
question
but
for you. This
I
is a
do
question for you.
believe that I strive my best.
I have a good question for you.
Yes.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. And this is a relative question, I think, but let's try to see if we can come up with something. What is health? How can we define it? How can we measure it? Is there lab work? Is there is there parameters? What is it?
So you believe it or not, again, it all goes to what's the norm, And many people will go to the doctor and have a lab report and it shows perfect and they'll say, I'm healthy. So
Right.
yeah, you can say that. Some people measure health based on their lab report. Some people measure health if they don't take any medications. Some people
Right.
measure health if they are able to run. Some people measure. So I think every individual has their own definition of health. Um, and some, like me and probably you, tend to set higher standards to what it means to be healthy.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's a good one to yeah, like right now I'm healthy physically, but I'm not. I feel the pressure no matter
Right.
how much I
How
try
could you
to.
not? Everybody is.
So this is not health. Like right now I cannot
Right.
say I'm living my best,
Right.
best version of me, and with the best in the maybe under the circumstances I'm still living the best version of me because I'm striving to balance again, to go back to those fundamentals, to eat the nourishing food, not to go and drop into emotional eating, which is so easy to do it now.
Yeah.
And I see this in people posting like they treat themselves with this sweet and the other sweet. It's the worst thing we can do. And then the question is, are you depressed because of the food you eat, or you're depressed because of corona, or because of both, or how do we get out of this? So I think health, like as far as I can think of it, is physical, emotional, and spiritual health. When again you physically you're fit, you're strong, you feel capable of doing anything you want to do. Then is this mental health where you have the desire, the drive for life. You know why you get up in the morning and you go and you do it, and you don't see obstacles, you see possibilities. Emotional is of course when you master your emotions and you focus on what you want, not what is. And then spiritual, when you feel, you see the bigger picture, and you being part of the bigger picture, you feel empowered and you're there to empower others.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm wondering, it's one of those things because someone's going to say, oh, I know somebody who was a runner. He ran marathons. He was an Ironman and he got sick and died and he's struggling or he's on a ventilator. I know someone that's very health conscious. They're a vegan and they run and they're sick too. So they're the health. So it's one of those things like, you know, overweight people finish marathons all the time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then there's people that right now that eat like shit and they're 90 years old and they smoke and they drink and they're mad all the time, and they don't have, they're negative, pessimistic people, right? And then there's somebody that kind of does it all right. They're doing it all fairly right and they pass away at a heart attack and they're,
Mm-hmm.
like like the way I look at it is if you look at the people that are affected the most right now, right? We poor, socioeconomically, um,
In the
whether it be
poverty.
Latins and
Mhm.
African Americans or people in poor parts of the country, people that are obese, people that have pre-existing ailments, that are
Chronic
diabetic
diseases, yes.
or have lung conditions. I guess what I'm saying, if these people were not obese, right, and didn't have, and which we know is caused by food, right? That's just like, let's go by this. We know this. Obesity is caused by the consumption of too many calories. There's some hormonal factors there. We know that. Quality of food, quantity of food, um, gut issues, like almost everything that say the top killers, whether it be heart disease and diabetes. Let's just talk about heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. We know those ailments, those diseases are almost 100% preventable by what you eat and the quality of food that you put in your body. So couldn't all of this be taken care of?
Well, that's exactly what I was trying to bring out yesterday. I posted a video of this Dr. Shiva. He's not a medical doctor. He's PhD, where he was saying that the solution is to boost the immune system, not to wait for the miracle drug or vaccine.
Right.
And all sorts of answers came out of that video, people questioning his credibility and all that. And the reason I like him is not I like him, is he's a messenger that carries a message I resonate with.
Right.
I'm not looking at the messenger to look at his credibility. I'm looking at the message he's sharing. He's one of the few that's in the political, because
Right.
at some point we have to bring the political in. We have to have some kind of policy, some kind of a plan that everybody can benefit from. So he's one of the politicians that has a message that I could see value in it, rather than waiting for a vaccine or another drug to be our savior so we
Right.
can continue to live by, I don't know what, I don't want to say like bad words, but to continue to eat crap and drink crap and live crap. Why don't we want to educate people so they
Right.
understand that it's important how
Right.
you live? It's
Right.
not just feel the pleasure of that food in your mouth or the buzz of the drink or the whatever comes from smoking a cigarette or taking a drug. That comes as a cost for the individual and for the society. So that's where we have to put our focus in educating, empowering people to
Why don't
take
we
care
hear
of
that,
their health.
Mihaela? Why don't we hear that on CNN? Why don't we hear anything like?
Because,
And I feel like, I mean, Western medicine, we know. Once again, I don't want to. I'm not talking conspiracy theory. I'm just wondering. It makes me upset. Like it used to make me upset when I see like the Cancer Society. They're talking about mammograms and they're talking about, these things being prevention, right? Mammograms are prevention for breast cancer awareness
they
month
give
and all this. Like,
candies out for
why not talk about nutrition more? Why not see
But-
that on the news? Same thing with this too. It's like it's not. I think it's irresponsible. And that's what I was saying. Somebody told me that I was being irresponsible by saying that we had control over our immune system a couple of days ago. And I think it's irresponsible not to empower people to say, hey, listen, whether or not it can prevent you from getting COVID-19, there's no debate that the healthier your immune system is, the better you're going to be able to deal with anything almost. So why not give that information out?
Why not give it a shot? Prioritize that for change.
Because most people are not doing anything at all right now. And on another thought, like we're quarantined for our house right now. How many people do you know right now that are actually not? You just talked about emotional eating. Like I wonder if we're going to see a spike in heart disease, a huge spike. We already have a major problem. We already had a major health epidemic. Once this is over, we're going to see a rise in heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. You watch, because people are in their houses right now eating nothing but sugar, processed food, and alcohol sales are going through the roof. They're drinking, they're stressed, they have anxiety, depression, suicide. They let people out, it's going to be worse than it was before, and it was already an epidemic.
Yeah, that's a sad picture to put in my mind. I don't want to, but the reality is that many people, unfortunately, that's the problem. There's no enough emphasis on education, and it should start with the school lunches, with hospital foods, and then of course every major like food industry. We can't call food what is in the supermarkets today. It's food like substances, but it's not natural to the human body, and certainly not to support health at any considerable level. So to kind of summarize this, Friends, if you want to boost your immune system, number one thing you want to take out is sugar and everything that comes with sugar and absorbs as sugar. All processed foods, industrialized oils. I mean, talking about reducing inflammation and allowing your immune system to do its job without you actually putting the brakes on, those would be two major changes to make. No processed foods, no industrialized vegetable oils, and no sugar.
Yeah.
And all the refined carbs like cereals and baked goods and gosh, all the
And we,
treats that people go
Mihaela,
for.
you're very good at this because I just mentioned it a second ago. Alcohol intake is through the roof right now.
And
'Cause I guess
alcohol,
that's
yeah.
essential. Because liquor stores are essential. Okay, that's whatever.
I like that.
So how is alcohol affecting the immune system?
Oh, good question. You know what? I never even looked into this. Alcohol and immune system. That's a good question. I would have to do some reading on that. I do know more about the sugar, but not about the alcohol. What I know, the alcohol is a toxin. I mean,
Yeah.
that it
And
affects your
is it not
liver,
considered
it
a
affects
sugar?
your brain, obviously.
Isn't alcohol considered a sugar? It's a carbohydrate.
It's metabolized as fat or like fat in the liver. So alcohol is not a food item, but it's a caloric substance. It has 7 calories per gram, so it's
Right.
right there between protein and fats, right? But in terms of how the body metabolizes alcohol, is metabolized by the liver like fat. That's why we have fatty liver.
Is it a separate macronutrient? It's a different macro, right?
Well, it's not considered a macro. Like when we talk about macronutrients from foods, we talk about the carbohydrates, protein, and fats. But when we take into account calories, we have to take into account calories that come from alcohol. But again, is not obviously it's not an essential thing for
Right.
life. So,
Right.
but alcohol certainly affects the liver. It's a toxin, and overconsumption of alcohol. In alcoholics, we have the alcoholic fatty liver, and then
Right.
cirrhosis. But and the same. So alcohol and fructose are very similar in the terms they are metabolized. Fructose. And of course high carb diet, but primarily the fructose from the high carb diet, the fructose component, because fructose is metabolized as fat in the
Right.
liver, would lead to fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Right.
So most definitely I do not believe having alcohol it's the way to deal with stress,
Right.
nor ice cream. So
From a
yeah,
health
all
perspective,
stress.
or from a health perspective, or a calorie perspective, and that's I
Yeah.
think from a beverage, we want to tell people don't drink your calories. How about that?
Yes, that's one thing, but it goes deeper here because people have ways of dealing with stress when they feel under a certain type of pressure, stress. They have a default response. Some eat, they go to the sweets, some go to the salt, some go to the alcohol, some go to all of them, some go to gambling, some go to compulsive shopping, some go and run. Those
Yeah.
are all ways in which we learn to cope with stress, to actually avoid, to distract ourselves from what really truly matters.
Yeah.
So the key is to learn how to recognize the emotion, accept the feeling and the emotion as something valid, have compassion for yourself, and then find ways in which you can shift the emotion to a different one, a next, like depending on if you're afraid or you're anxious or you're frustrated or angry. No, those are all again those kind of feel. That's why in my Love Quarantine, I don't know if you saw the emotional health class I've done. I talked about this, how it's so important to recognize our emotional state. How do I feel today? What do I feel? Do I feel worried? Do I feel anxious? Do I feel overwhelmed? So or do I feel excited? Do I feel whatever the feeling is, right? It's so important to, because our emotions are our guiding system to how we respond to life.
Yeah.
In other words, these emotions will kind of indicate us, are we on the sympathetic nervous system response, that fight and flight, or we are in the rest and restore. We want to spend as much time possible in the rest and restore, which means feelings of gratitude, love, unconditional love, compassion, joy, excitement, elation. So to go from here to here is not easy. You can't jump from angry to joyful, right? So but that's the work we need to do, to detect, to recognize our emotions, to feel, to be in peace with the emotion, and to shift them, to find strategies. And there are many strategies. Tapping, is heart coherence, is meditation, visualization, art therapy, sleep, well, even sleep, go and take a nap. Or releasing the emotion, like if you're angry, go and punch a punching bag, or swim in a pillow, or break something if you have to, burn something. But release, rather than stuffing the emotion with a glass of wine or a whiskey or a pint of ice cream or shopping something or whatever the coping mechanism is. So that's, I think this is huge, hugely important right now for people to be able to tune into their body and their inner wisdom, and recognize the emotions and focus. Again, we have the ability to focus our attention, to shift the emotions, to recognize and shift. That's is unique to us humans. Awareness and willingness to change, not to stay, because we can realize, oh, I'm anxious, and stay in our anxiousness and make it even worse, versus trying to shift it into a higher emotion, positive one. So that's you. So between food, so that will be the foundational. So, and that's what I love quarantine. That's what I always invite people to check in. How are you nourishing? Like, how are you taking care of your body, like physical body? Are you eating nourishing foods, or you're eating, the other than the best? Are you moving your body in an intentional way? Are you spending time outdoors? If those of us that are quarantined and able to get outside, make it a priority. Even several times, that you need the nature, you need the sun, you need the fresh air. Then the sleep. Are you prioritizing your sleep? And then what practices do you use to help you with your emotional health? Those are the and if now is a time for people to do this, now is the best time. If we cannot do it now, when we are quarantined and we have more time in our hands, at least some people out there, either because they work from home and they don't have to spend time in traffic, because there are no ways to go out and entertain. This is such a great time to go in within and find your power.
There's a silver lining in all this, right? I really think there is.
Yes. So that's my 2 cents.
I think you gave a lot for people to think about today.
I hope so. As far as I'm concerned, I vote for food and lifestyle over drugs and vaccines. I'm not saying sometimes or some people will not need them or benefit. But that's, let just those people use those. But the majority of people, if we can shift our whole way of thinking about life, where that's like by default, we do things that are good for our body, rather than, just, I always say, you live a life, you treat your body like it's a use and abuse kind of relationship with your body, not a use and care, like
not even paying attention.
This is the vessel you have. You have to
we're not even, like you said it earlier, we're not even giving it a chance.
We want to help people understand that there are no quick fixes. Everything comes at a cost. And the what's the right word? The short thing is, what's really, really most powerful is how you treat your body. That's the power. That's your policy, like the insurance policy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do we have anybody live with any questions? I'm not sure. I see some comments here. I love Josh. Jonathan
Yeah, I answered.
Schrager. You answered?
Yeah, I answered.
Okay. Okay, that's it. So if you, those of you that are live, if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, we are happy
What's
to.
up, Charles Weber? Hi, Charles. John, no questions, John?
Nobody has questions. Everybody's
Don't be shy.
quietly listening.
Awesome.
Awesome. Are we good?
Mate, we're
Well,
good.
thank you all for joining us for another conversation. This was not announced. From now on, we're going to do more ad hoc like this because both
Yeah,
we
we're
have,
busy.
children to homeschool. So all
Yeah,
depends how the days go. We will come up with new insights, with share. Well, maybe we can even make,
yeah,
or this is getting too long. I'm not sure how long we've been live already. But sometimes people want to hear what we do, like how
yeah,
do we take care of our mind, body health.
yeah.
What do
Yeah,
you
maybe
do,
we'll talk
Matt?
about that next time.
We can talk about that next time. Okay.
Yeah.
Diane, somebody's putting a comment there, but I don't know if it's here or it's on the good. Okay, so next time we can share a little bit of our routines, how we are able to, prioritize physical health, emotional, spiritual health, plus maybe like hands-on how you shop. I still go in the stores and shop. I don't have any fears around that to go out. I'm not ordering
Okay.
foods online. I'm still getting out, and uh, thank goodness we can still go out on the beach. The
Yeah.
beaches are not closed, so we
Oh,
can,
wow.
as long as people don't gather in big groups, they let us ride the bike, surf, exercise on the beach. I'm very happy to see that because they, at least the mayor here is aware of the importance of moving your
For
body and
sure.
getting
Well, Miami
vitamin
Beach
D
is
from the
closed.
sun. I heard. Well, I think the density of the population is much higher there, so for obvious reasons they had to. But here is not so crowded, so it's, in that sense we are fortunate that we can still get out and
Yeah. Very fortunate. Get that vitamin D, get that movement.
oh, it's, I'm telling you, soon I'll be in my of course my schedule is flipped because I'm home with my son. When my husband gets home, then I can go out.
Yeah.
And but
Well, good talk.
we're hanging in. I don't know if you guys heard the news that the Surgeon General and Donald Trump announced that beginning of May, for most businesses, some maybe only June, they want to open back up to lift all the quarantine. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
I have the feeling that the schools might not. Let's
Yeah.
see. Maybe restaurants and all the other. We'll see. It will be interesting to see. Anyway, we are living history. Of course, every day is history, but this is history that's going to go in the books like big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No doubt about that.
let's, I don't know, just think, sit in silence. That's another thing. Just sit in silence and go within rather than always looking outside and reading the latest news and hearing the latest report, how many people die and all that.
More
I think,
cortisol. It's just more cortisol overload.
yes, I think it's so important to go within, just stay in silence and reflect on life and be grateful if you're healthy and you have a roof over your head and food on the table and all that. Just live in gratitude and send because we are all powerful, we can send our love and energy to those that need it. It's
Yeah.
like Joe Dispenza. Yesterday I shared his live video on my personal page. I really love his work. That's
Yeah, I
what
do too. Yeah, he's great.
yeah. So let's lead with love and compassion, because collectively we can shift the energy
Yeah.
of things. And this is I see it in an unfortunate way. It's happened, but things happen the way they need to happen. It's like somebody press pause on humanity, so
Yeah.
we give time for the earth to rest and restore. And now the earth goes into that parasympathetic mode, which we, quite frankly, humans abuse the planet, sadly enough. I mean, wild animals do not abuse their environment. They live in harmony with their environment. We
Yeah.
are the only ones that, unfortunately, we're abusing our own home. And using it, again, just like we do with our own body, we use it and trash it like we don't need it, but we do need it. So the earth itself is taking a good rest and restoration. And so we should, there's less distraction, more time to read, to again go within, to strengthen the bonds with your own children, with your own parents, with your own family. It's just again, we can choose to see the good and the bad, not only the bad, or amplify the bad and don't see any good. There's nothing absolute good or absolute bad. That's how I
That's a good way
see
to
it.
look at it.
Hmm?
That's a good way to look at it.
Okay. Any final thoughts from you?
No, I thought we got to the point. You are in control of your own health. You have more control of your body than you think you do.
Yes, if people could see, and that's not, I'm gonna read some comments here, and then I'll say one more thing with regards to our power, again, as individuals, as a collective.
Yeah.
Charles, I think is your friend, saying, I'm driving, enjoying the show. Awesome. Jonathan, what are her main nutrients for the immune system health? I suppose that's for me. And still, Jonathan, I hear they are also abandoning Bill Gates' model. Yes, I did that too. And going to real numbers. Thank you, Jonathan, for bringing that up. We really did not want to get into that
Yeah.
can of worms, but yes, that's what I heard too. And I was happy
What was
to
that? What
hear.
was it?
He said, I hear they are also abandoning Bill Gates' model and going to real numbers.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yes, I heard that too. I can send you the little news report I saw on YouTube. It's from Dr. I think I sent you some
I don't
of
think
his
the
videos.
CDC, I don't think, what's the
What?
guy's name? What's the medical guy's name?
Fauci, Dr.
Fauci's not gonna
Fauci.
like that, and neither is CDC, but
This was the Surgeon General that
uh,
made the announcement with Trump, with President. So we'll see what's gonna be. Again, I never talk politics, and I don't get
yeah,
into politics, but
yeah.
it's
Oh,
becoming politics.
John loves politics. John
Oh,
loves
okay.
to
So
talk
he
politics.
probably.
He's instigating right now, is what he's doing.
Oh, okay, we're not gonna answer. Fauci was met yesterday at the media.
See?
Okay, we are not gonna
We're not
get
going there, John.
instigated. But I'm gonna answer you about the nutrients for the immune system health. The best foods for overall human health, including immune health, are coming from animal foods. I know most people think that they need to have the variety of vegetables and fruits. Those are optional. Really foundational, like Matt was talking about, that good wood that you want to have to build the structure of the house. You will get that from animal source foods, the protein, the muscle meats, the fat that comes with it, the organ meats. If I was to give like one food recipe that I would say have it every day, would be a meat and bone stock. I used to happen to love the chicken stock. I make it all the time. We drink it like you would drink tea, but you can make beef bone stock, pork, lamb, whatever, big bones,
Yeah.
with lots of marrow, with fat, with joints, with skin, you can use to make a gel-like soup. And when you warm it up,
Nice.
it becomes liquid again. That's like food for the immune system, food for the gut. Boosting the good, like to get again, and I should have my notes because I can't keep these things in my head, but all the B vitamins you are going to get again from organ meats, primarily your liver is there. Zinc, animals food sources, selenium, all those, vitamin A, all fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A. Although many people think that the best source of vitamin A would be your orange vegetables and dark green vegetables because of the beta carotene. It's important to understand that beta carotene is the precursor to vitamin A, to the I think it's retinol. So the body has to convert that into the active form, which without any conversion, we can get it directly from, again, animal foods with their natural fat content. Then, of course, vitamin D, the best source for vitamin D is not food. We can get some from food, from like grass-fed dairy products and meats and with their fat, but your best source of vitamin D production is exposure to sun. We produce vitamin D in our skin from cholesterol as a result of being exposed to UVBs, I think is the UVBs. And if you were to take it as a supplement, cod liver oil, fermented cod liver is the best. And the company that I recommend is Green Pastures. I'm not talking about the other companies that have ultra refined, odorless, tasteless cod liver oil. That's not the one we're talking about. I'm talking about the actual cod livers that are fermented and put in capsules or sold in a liquid form that smells and tastes like a cod liver.
I'll take the one with butter. The one,
the one with butter, right? So
Charles knows. Charles used to sell me that. The guy Charles who's there, he's a big fan of Sally Fallon and
Okay. So he knows. But this is Jonathan. I think Jonathan was asking.
Yeah, I was just saying it's funny that Charles is there.
I'm having liver for dinner tonight. You are smart. So you see, you're doing, I don't know, intuitively or not, you're doing the right thing. So animal foods are, it's all the ADK, again, vitamin K. These are all fat soluble vitamins. So they will come with meat with its natural fat content. Again, if the meats are coming from grass-fed, pasture-raised animals, of course, they have higher amounts of those vitamins and also higher content of the omega-3 essential fatty acids, which, let's not forget, are super important for the immune health and anti-inflammatory fats. And you can get, in terms of food, small fish like sardines, herring, mackerel, anchovies are your best source. And again, they're less polluted. And if you don't like those fishes, many people I know do not like sardines. I love them, by the way. Then you can go to sockeye salmon, Alaskan sockeye salmon. Okay, sorry. I guess my husband is on his way, but I had to decline the call. We'll wrap it up. So we have the salmon, of course, the salmon roll, the eggs, fabulous food. That will be your omega-3s. Then we cover the fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, K. Then this is K2, the one that's of animal origin, because K1 comes from plants, and it's the result of bacterial fermentation, which we can produce in our gut, or we would take in with fermented vegetables. But they act differently. So vitamin K's have lots of forms. The one that's active and is important for cardiovascular health as well as bone health would be the K2. We talked about the minerals, selenium, zinc, magnesium, super important, and potassium. You will get all of this when you make those concentrates of meat bones, because the minerals will leach into the stock. That's why it's important to drink it, not only to eat the meats. Am I missing out something in there?
John said his grandfather ate sardines. He lived to be 92 years old, but I'm sure he had all of his vaccines too, John. He didn't, it was the vaccines that kept him alive.
Don't go there, please, Matt. I miss liver. I have to. Last time when I went to the store, they didn't have it. I have to see. I make liver under normal circumstances at least once a week. We have some form of liver, and we eat from it to at least 2-3 times that in a week from liver I cook. But that's pretty much it in terms of. And then of course your body will produce its own antioxidant. Glutathione is important. People take it as a supplement, depending on the form, if it's really absorbed or not. But it can, again, it goes back to the foundation. Once you have this, then you can think of adding certain supplements to boost, to beef it up.
Right.
But foundation is food, and food, believe it or not, the best food for overall health, including immune health, is animal based foods. And then
Right.
colorful vegetables and fruits, optional, depending on what you find locally and in season.
There
You
you go.
don't have to kill yourself over that.
Smart.
And
Good stuff.
key is also what you stay away from, like we already talked: processed foods, vegetable, like canola, soybean oil, corn oil, all that stuff that
Right.
shouldn't even cross your mind to consume something like that.
You
That's
shouldn't have it in the house. You just
no,
really
no,
shouldn't
no,
have it in your
no.
house.
And all the processed packaged goods. I mean, if you really, really want something sweet, go for some fruits.
Yeah.
Find what, like right now in season here, we still have the citrus fruits if people want. Berries, I think it's pretty much season for berries. You can find them. So that would be my and that's what I do. Some dark chocolate.
We just saved a lot of lives. That's what we just did right there in that whole session.
Hopefully. My husband really wants to talk with me. So I'm going to say thank you all for coming. Thank you, Jonathan, for your liver cooked in butter with curry powder. Sounds yummy. Very yummy.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Yes.
We appreciate you. Stay healthy.
And watch the replay, #after party, so we know it's after our party here.
That's
and any questions, any comments you have, post them there. We will both comment.
Please share, John. Please share.
And of course, I have the Love Quarantine group. It's a free group that has a lot of this, what we talked about today, and I'm offering support in there. Matt has his busy professional group. He's putting exercise routines every day, guys. I mean, it's no excuse.
Yeah.
You can just press on one of his videos and go move your body.
Yep.
And that's it. reach out for help if you want help. This is, if there was a time when you had a clear message to how important food and lifestyle is, this is it. And act on behalf of your body. Reach out for help. Do not be afraid, because this is your again, insurance is this is what makes you rich.
Real health insurance.
Real health insurance and real wealth. Like, health is your currency of life. You have health, you can go back and rebuild the money you lost because of quarantine, and build the homes and do whatever you want. But without that health, no matter how much money you have and whatever else you have in your life, it's just meaningless, really. So that's why that's my quote. Use it, tweet it. Health is the currency of life.
Love it.
Love to you all. Stay positive.
Stay on. I want to ask you something. Stay on with me. Bye, everyone.
Okay, let me end on Facebook. I don't even know where I go to end on Facebook. That's the sad part of our things here. I would love to end it on Facebook if I only knew where to go. Matt. Oh, and guess what? I did not record this one. But I think I can. No, I didn't record it. It's on Facebook. Maybe I have to come here to turn it off.